And good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse for a rainy Wednesday afternoon of thoroughbred action. Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson up here in our studio on the mezzanine level. And Emily, Mother Nature has not been nice to us the last 2 weeks. The turf course looks awesome. I'm just not sure when we're going to get back on it.
You did have a prediction.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll hold out, but we kind of assume with the weather that came through, gosh, that was on 2 Sundays ago, and the rain that's hit, and it's pretty heavy rain. It's supposed to let up a little bit, but on the way over, as I was driving over, hit pretty hard. Yeah. Kind of looks like it's off and on following the radar, so hopefully that'll help us out a little bit. I think we're going to get more rain tomorrow too.
I think there's a chance, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, hopefully we'll be back on the turf, but yeah, I'm sure it'll appreciate getting that weather and rain, and just in terms of the grass itself.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty for sure. We did have some heavy storms that came through here earlier on in the day, so as you see, the main track is listed as sloppy. Hopefully the rain does move through as the day progresses. We'll just have to see how things unfold, but we have a lot of scratches on today's card due to being off the turf, due to the wet track and that. So, hey, we deal with it moving forward, go with what we do have in the entry box and go from there, but we're 29 minutes to post for the opener, Emily. So we're going to run through the card here real quickly, as in race number 1. There's 5 of them in the first. We scratched the 4, Beg, Borrow, and Steal. Field of 5 lines up for race number 1. They go 5.5 furlongs. $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races in here. And Emily, looking up and down this field, I'll be curious to see how things unfold. I think Miss Melody is going to be pretty tough to show some speed in this spot, but I know you gave a little bit of a look to Iggy Biggs as well.
I did. I thought there was some form there, and then just from a pace standpoint, there could be some contention as far as that early pace. The Miss Melody one that probably has the pace advantage, but likely to be pressed. Kitty McLean is early speed. Crystal Snow's capable of showing early speed. And I thought that Iggy Biggs had a similar run style to Beg, Borrow, and Steal. Probably would have been a shorter price in here if she was still in the race. And Iggy Biggs, again, just has that back form and could be some intent coming back off the layoff. Those factors together give a bit of a look, but not too creative looking at the board right now, the first and second choice in the early wagering.
Yeah, but when you look, when 5 to 1's your longest price, it's really one of those things where it basically tells you anybody has a chance to win. Just have to see how things unfold, see how the track plays throughout the course of the day too, because once this rain passes, it'll be a drying out racetrack, but we'll just have to see kind of how quickly it dries, and that it will be sloppy all day long, but we'll see how the track plays as well. But right now, Miss Melody, the horse that I'm going to look to in here, could show a little bit of speed in this spot, and we'll just see if speed holds as well in the slop in race number 1. Race 2 hurt a little bit by scratches. We just had a late scratch there of the 7 Belperrin, so the 1, 5, and 7 are out of there. No superfecta wagering. The only ones left in 2, 3, 4, and 6. And I'll tell you, looks to me like Specializing is now going to be pretty tough in here. Comes in out of a pretty tough race in that last out. But of the 4 remaining, Emily, 3 of those can show some speed in this spot too, so it may come down to a little bit of a rider's race as well.
I think so as well. It changes it a little bit. There could be some further intent on Specializing, going out for Larry Velli scratch, moment to shine, who I kind of preferred a little bit more, so maybe the scratch was saying something, telling me to upgrade Specializing. Maybe I missed something in my handicapping there, but could be able to get the right trip. My Sweet Analyze was able to rush out of the gate, get that lone trip, breaking her maiden on debut, and same thing with Arcady Bug, and kind of project those two to go at it again early, use the same running style that got him the win in their most recent start.
Yeah, and it's one of those things there where, I mean, Specializing, it was a tough race. That allowance race, can't believe it. The winner of that spot in the last out was a good, solid racehorse there from the barn of Jimmy DeVito. Specializing chased the entire way in that race. Mojica's back aboard today. I did end up with that one. I thought Magnum Massa runs pretty consistent races each and every time out too, but you're right. The ones that were just coming in off maiden scores, pretty solid performances as well. So again, just kind of see how things unfold, see how the track plays there when we get on to race number 2. Race 3 also no superfecta wagering because there's only 4 left in here as well. Scratch the 2, 6, 7, and 8. Off the turf, we go 1 mile and a 16th in this spot. These are $10,000 claimers. What it does do is it probably leaves Prancy Pants loose and lonely on the lead, a horse that's won 3 times on a wet track and seems to be in the best form of its career as well.
The scratches certainly should help her best chances in here. I mean, we could see some speed from Timeless Glory. That's what she had to do last out in that match race when the late scratches came through. Even No Nanette No has a little bit of early speed as well. So again, it could be another one of those riders races. In the initial handicapping, I gave a look to On a Tour, and I still think that she has a look in here, and based on the form, and then even based on the trip, because has some tactical speed, doesn't have to necessarily be a deep closer, and just with the class this field, it's probably going to be a little bit closer just the way that it shakes out. And forcing them to, just because there's only, 3 others in the group.
Yeah, and on a tour horse that likes this Hawthorne strip, has always run well here at Hawthorne, has a decent race on a wet track. And again, like you said, pace kind of makes the race. Timeless Glory, you don't know what to make of that last out, just because you did have just that match race there, and this was the one that controlled it the whole way around. I think Prancy Pants gets away in good order and is very tough in the spot. We're just going to have to see how far Prancy Pants can carry him around, but that's the route I went to in the 3rd. 4th race on the card, 1 mile and 70 yards, $15,000 maidens in the spot. Scratch the one, that's Go Spike. Leaves you with a field of 6 to line up in here. Now, Larry the Poet is going to take a whole lot of action on the class drop in here, but Armavir, I know you gave that horse a little bit of a look as well. Manny Perez has 2 in this race, and I thought Armavir with the class relief could run a little bit better race as well.
Yeah, I think this horse just needed that drop just off the visuals in the race of the season. There's been progression, speed figure progression, race to race, and just getting the class relief in the right time and place. And then even Ice Vortex, the other Manny Perez runner, also has a look in here. They had trouble at the start last out, ton of ground loss in that race, so can give a little bit of an excuse. Another one coming back, it was getting the class relief last out, so it's another one that is kind of a subtle class drop if you're giving the excuse last out. It's only the 2nd time at the level, showing some intent. Larry the Poet, probably another one, benefits from not only just that class drop, but also the scratch as well, in terms of running style, but has to show a little bit more. They did stay on the best of speed, but just not quite enough finish late.
Yeah, and the one thing about Larry the Poet, you're coming in and out of a tougher race. Tahoe Run, the winner of that race, came right on back, ran a very good race against Allowance Company, and that one's next out. Larry the Poet comes out of that race, drops in for the $15,000 price tag. So again, just see how things unfold, but Larry the Poet, the one that I did end up with, but it's going to be a very short price there in race number 4. Now the scratches are huge here in race number 5. Take out the 1 Stop Shop and Amy in the 6 First Squadron, and the reason I say they're huge, First Squadron was going to be the horse that went out there and kind of kept things honest for First Kitten. With First Squadron out, I think First Kitten takes him from gate to wire in this spot and will be very tough to beat. I know you made a little bit of a case for Samarita, but how do the scratches kind of change how you look here at race number 5?
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, First Kitten should have a pace advantage in here, now kind of moves into that lone speed position. Samarita is not without a chance with the scratches, but does require the right trip. Tavares is going to have to keep her closer to the pace. Can't let First Kitten's probably going to try to go and just run this field off their feet, especially if we see in the early races that's kind of how things are going with the track. But Tavares staying a little bit close should be able to get first run, and maybe that's the trip they need. She has some trouble trips coming back this season, including the win, if you count the win without the rider back on May 7th, and then has had some trouble since. So, just overdue for some luck. And we saw that with a couple other horses this season that lost the rider and then just finally found the right place in time. Maybe that's Samarita's day. Yeah,
we're just going to have to see. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of trouble notes on that horse. So clear sailing's going to be the key for Samarita. First Kitten, another one that's going to be a very short price with the scratches here. But again, it's how the track plays and how the race unfolds there in race number 5. 6th race off the turf, 1 mile and 70 yards, allowance runners in this spot. I'm going to tell you the horses that stay in because more of them scratched and stayed in. But the 4 Journeyist remains in, 7 Harvey's Princess, 9 She's Wonderful, 10 Dialed Inna, and the 13 Bertrada. Dialed Inna, was one of the horses that was a main track only, entered for this spot. I think this is a horse that's sitting on a big effort in here and just missed at a similar level 2 back.
Yeah, can't argue. Kind of went in that direction as well. Should have plenty of pace in here with the way the race just kind of changes a little bit. Going to force Journeyist to be forwardly placed. She's Wonderful to be forwardly placed. Bertrada also makes a lot of sense. The other MTO in here is probably going to try to get that first run on Dialed Inna, but I think both those MTOs, not only they draw in with some intent, but they fit today's race shape as well with their running style.
Yeah, running style wise, the one thing that does remain here is a decent amount of pace. So again, we're going to see how the track plays, see how things unfold. Journeyist has been pretty solid throughout the course of the meet. Still looking for that first win of the year, but the horse has run some decent races. Price-wise, I think Dialed In is probably going to take a whole lot of action now with the scratches and drawing into the race as well. But to me, that's the most logical horse there in race number 6. In the 7th, now this race was hurt a little bit by some later scratches. So we take out the 1, Maligator, 3, Time Has Come, 4, Blazing Road, and the 6, Follow the Signs. So that leaves you with a field of 7 to line up in this spot. And originally I even had Blazing Road in the mix, so with that one being a late scratch, kind of changes things up here. But Try Again remains in, West Warpath remains in, and Emily, those are 2 horses that have been pretty solid throughout the course of the meet, and we're just going to have to see kind of how they handle the off track today.
Yeah, and you can put Shackelford Strong in that same mix as well. All those horses have been very consistent. I tried to make a creative case for number 11 Pacer in here, and actually kind of like him a little bit more with the scratches. scratches. The 3 was going to show early speed. Time has come. And with that horse coming out, that could help pace her a little bit. I know this is a long shot. It could be a little bit of a reach. But just as far as that most recent start coming off the layoff, didn't have much turf form or 2-turn form. So just kind of a race that looked like a prep. And now they're coming back to the main track, second off, getting back to sprinting. Just seems like these are more familiar conditions. And if it is the right time and place, especially with the other speed out, kind of the horse I wanted to keep in the mix outside of those more obvious types, you know, trying to get a little bit creative in here. So I don't know, mix it up a little bit.
And why not? I mean, see what happens price-wise in here, because you lose some of your top contenders and you lose a lot of your pace in your race. Definitely does kind of change how things are going to unfold early on. So I'll be curious to see what the betting is as well there in race number 7. In the finale, no jackpot high 5 wagering again due to late scratches here. Take out the 1, Boot Daddy Justice, the 4, Flying Samurai out, and then we just had a scratch of the 6, Gita's Lad. So it leaves you with a field of 6 to close out the card. Rashawn Blanche on the 7, Seminole Beach. Gun Rush has been awesome. Looks for 5 in a row. The only question for Gun Rush is going to be how the horse handles an off track, because everything else the horse has done absolutely right.
And I mean, maybe that's the one excuse, but there should be no excuses today. I mean, he looked pretty solid in this race. I don't think anybody was. Jim Watkins was probably pretty confident on Gun Rush coming into this race, and probably upgraded when Gita's Lad scratched, because Gita's Lad was going to make things tougher for him. He was going to have to work for it a little bit more on the front end, showing speed. I was still going to give Gun Rush a bit of an edge, but Gun Rush looks to have like a major pace advantage in here. With those other 2 in the race, I was going to go for off the pace, but Gun Rush is a major upgrade with that scratch.
Yeah, Gun Rush is going to be very tough. Again, going to be a short price. Should be in full control pace scenario-wise. There's really not a whole lot of pace in the race. So Gun Rush, the one I'm going to look to as well. Now, normally we would go into the first race, but today we got a ton of stuff going on, a ton of late scratches. So Peter needs to run through the changes again. So Peter's going to do so with that. And then after that, Emily's going to come back and talk to you about race number 1. All right? Good luck.
Racing fans, once again, here are the changes on the program today. We are off the turf, all the races on the main track, and that track is currently listed as sloppy. Here once again are the changes, numerous changes on the program once again. Off the turf, all the races on the main track, and the track is sloppy. First race starts, the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, the 50-cent pick 5. In the first race, scratch 4, Beg, Borrow, and Steal. Scratch 4, Beg, Borrow, and Steal. No jockey changes, no overweights in the first. Second race starts the 50-cent early pick 4. Cancel Superfecta wagering. Scratch 1, Moment to Shine. Number 2, Magna Massa carries 1 pound over the program weight. Scratch 5, Miss Kitty Pie. 6, Specializing carries 1 pound over the program weight. Scratch number 7, Bell Perrin. Scratch 157 from today's second race, and that cancels Superfecta wagering. 157 are out of race 2. Third race off the turf, mile 1/16 on the main track, sloppy. No Superfecta wagering. It starts at pick 6. Pick 6 now the only carryover pool today. Pick 6 carryover $921. In the third race, scratch 2 Celestial Spin, scratch 6 Command Point, scratch 7 Zandreas, scratch 8 Romantic Attack. Third race, scratch 2, 6, 7, 8. Fourth race, scratch 1 Ghost Bike, scratch 1 Ghost Bike. Fifth race starts the late pick 4, scratch 1 Stop Shopping Amy, scratch 6 First Squadron. Fifth race, scratch 1 Stop Shopping Amy, scratch 6 First Squadron. Sixth race off the turf, mile 70 yards on the main track, which is sloppy. Scratch 1 Kingsbury Dream, scratch 2 Cat Royale, scratch 3 on Box Office. Scratch 5 Tap Arena, scratch 6 Wanda Strong, scratch 8 Tar Heel Girl, scratch 11 Style, scratch 12 Asilia. Once again, sixth race off the turf, mile 70 yards on the main track, scratch 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 11, and 12. Seventh race, scratch 1 Maligator, scratch 3 Time Has Come. Late scratch, scratch 4 Blazin' Road, scratch 4 Blazin' Road, scratch 6 Follow the Signs. 9, Lone Star Chrome carries 2 pounds over the program weight. Once again, scratches out of the 7th, 1, 3, 4, and 6. The 8th race, canceled, jackpot high 5. That carryover, $144,612 will carry over to tomorrow, Thursday. Scratch 1, Boot Daddy Justice. Scratch 4, Flying Samurai. Scratch 6, Gita's Lad. Rider change 7, Seminole Beach. Make the jockey Rashawn Blanche. The weight's okay. Rashawn Blanche rides 7, Seminole Beach. Once again, 8th race, canceled, jackpot high 5 wagering. The carryover, $144,612 will carry over to tomorrow, Thursday. Scratch 1, 4, 6 out of the 8th. Those are the changes on the program. We're 15 minutes away from the first race. Once again, off the turf. Main track is sloppy. We do urge you to make your selections early. Avoid being shut out. Thank you.